Well, I have been on a quest to get as many people as possible to read a book by my friend Dr. Benjamin Weicker. It's titled 10 Books That Screwed Up the World. It is available through the Ministry of the Christian Research Institute. When you support us, we'll be pleased to send you a copy. Check it out on our website at equip.org. Today I want to focus on one of those books, a book titled Coming of Age in Samoa. It's a book written in 1928 by Margaret Mead. In that book, Mead seeks to convince the West that the rigors of Christian sexual morality, well, they're unnatural. They produce anxiety, inhibitions, and we'd all be far better off without these anxiety-producing inhibitions. And as such, the child of the future has to be taught that many ways are open to them, no one sanctioned above the alternative, and that upon them alone lies the burden of choice. In other words, there's no objective moral standard. There's no North Star. You can let your feelings dictate what is right or wrong. Samoans, well, they were the test case for Mead, and allegedly they eliminated all cultural anxiety by regarding sex as merely a profound form of play. The sooner we get rid of societal standards, the sooner we realize the high point of individual choice, and the sooner we buy into universal tolerance, the better. So Mead's sexual anthropology was not really based on some real research, but rather she had a bias, and that bias was her own lifestyle, a lifestyle that she wanted to ratify. She was married when she set sail for Samoa. She left that relationship for another on her way back from Samoa. She traded in number 2 for number 3, and of course sprinkled her heterosexuality with the spice of a lesbian lover. The question is, how can such a flawed work have served as a stepping stone to fame? I think the answer is that all too often, many just wanted Mead to be right. The desire that something be true, rather than the desire for truth itself, therefore, I would call at the root, at least, of all evil. It certainly is the origin of all ideology, and ideology was the source of much of the evil in the past century. As Benjamin Weicker makes clear in his book, 10 Books That Screwed Up the World, ideology comes at truth from the opposite direction, molding truth to what we happen to desire, because it has no compunction about refashioning truth to fit our desires. It has no hesitation. In the hands of someone like Mead, in refashioning reality according to our cravings, we're lost. Pseudoscience is the reason we're lost. It is the handmaiden to ideology. Politics is the hammer. And Mead provides a classic example of the power of ideology in creating and perpetuating pseudoscience. This book screwed up the world. Not only so, but the world is a world that is concocted by Mead. It's a foolish Judeo-Christian infatuation and fidelity that leads only to marital conflict and misery in her world, but in the real world, that simply is not true. In Messiah's world, fidelity and commitment are the very stones upon which his children and civilizations flourish. We need to know that bad ideas have horrendous consequences, and thus it's worth it to know the poison that we are absorbing and oftentimes unaware of. That poison has dribbled down through the years to this very century in which we live, indeed, the very decade in which we live, and the very day in which you find yourself. So be warned, forewarned, and therefore inoculate yourself against these trends that you hear about. Cultural leader talking about them on television and in books and in magazines. Beware of the delusion. Otherwise, the delusion will swallow you. You will swallow the skin of the truth, stuffed with a great big lie. The book, again, available through the Ministry of Christian Research Institute. Check it out on the web, equip.org.